3 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. Welcome aboard the Postgame Show alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. Lots to get to on today's program. Football camp continues. That makes it sound like the kids that are going, like in June to learn how to run routes, and August camp.
And quit annoying their parents for the summer.
Alan Cole of Gamecock Scoop, the rival site that covers Carolina. Alan's a great guy. He'll be with us coming up in about a half hour. But Alan has already committed a major faux pas today. I know he didn't mean to.
Oh, no.
But he's going to get hollered at.
Did he call it fall camp?
He did.
He called it fall camp.
He did. And I was going to scold him on Twitter, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that.
You're saving it for the air.
Well, I don't want to yell at him too much on the air either, but...
Because then you'll scare him.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. He's a young kid trying to make his way in the world, and, I'm just a cynical old dude now who's been doing this for 20-something years, and, get off my lawn.
I say this borders curmudgeon-like.
Well, I feel that way about the term fall camp. I just, again, if I'm in Madison, Wisconsin right now and I'm covering Badger football and you want to call it fall camp, okay. That's cool because, right now it's probably 60-something in Madison. I don't know. Actually, it's probably not, but...
It probably feels very nice.
It's
because this is a summer month.
Yeah. Yeah, and up that way,
I get it.
I mean, there's a lot of folks that vacation along the shores of the Great Lakes in the summertime. And Mackinac Island, Michigan is very popular in the summer. I've never been there, but it seems like a nice place.
Heard about it.
Yeah, seems nice, You can boat and fish and hike and stuff. It's always fun, right?
Fun vacation activity.
Yeah. But down here, again, and if you want to say, oh, come on, Phillips, really? Yeah, because I'm from here, and it ain't the fall, period. In fact, it's the hottest month of the year, for reals.
It is miserable.
I mean, it's just, if the average temperature starts with a 9, it ain't fall.
It also ain't fun.
Unless you live in, Trinidad. In which
Where
case,
it's that all the time.
Say there are no seasons, really. I mean, technically there are, but...
If you're really close to the equator.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's just me. But I won't yell at Alan too much. Otherwise, we'll just talk about football and stuff. United States men's basketball team has just tipped off against Serbia. America taking a quick 2-0 lead. A long way to go in this one. Obviously, the winner will play for a gold medal, and the winner will play the home team. France and Germany today in what turned out to be a nail-biter. It was very close for a while. France pulled out to about an 8 or 10-point lead. Germany clawed their way back, had multiple chances to make it a game, had a really nice defensive stop with a 2-point deficit. And dude kind of dribbled it off his foot out of bounds.
Franz Wagner.
And then...
highly paid NBA player.
Yeah, and I guess his brother, they both play for Orlando, is that right?
They both play for Orlando,
yeah.
Correct. Franz and Mo.
And France held on, made some free throws, held on for the win. Victor Wembanyama, somebody tried to... Maybe they did what we were talking about yesterday and tried to googe him.
Yeah, he had a nice gnarly scratch.
He had blood on his uniform. They let him keep playing, so clearly... any of the health concerns, they just don't exist in the Olympics. It's like when Carolina was playing Oklahoma at the College World Series. Pay no attention to that lightning. That's right over there.
No one sees it.
That is not actually lightning. It's a fireworks display.
It's actually just more heat lighting.
Yes. But Wemby had a nice game today, and France. So this is interesting. France. Now this is sort of trivia. Deductive trivia, and again, courtesy of NBC Sports for me to know this. France will be the first host nation to medal in men's basketball since
1996,
and that was the United States. How about
Atlanta.
that? Huh?
Yeah. History's being made.
Yeah. So America won gold in Sydney. Who won the gold? Did Spain win the gold in 2004 when America tanked it, blew it? Was it Spain?
That was Argentina.
Argentina won the gold medal. All right.
Shout out Manu Ginobili.
And then America's won every gold medal since then, but they ain't been in America. So France will get a medal. So no home country has medaled, period, since the United States won gold in Atlanta. So that's kind of cool. And France is good, man.
Dude, I mean,
France is good.
Victor Wembanyama did not shoot the ball very well today. I think he was 4 of 17 from the field. Wasn't pretty. But this is a 7'4" dude that plays with guard skills out on the perimeter, can shoot a little bit, but has just like the freakiest blocks because his wingspan is so cartoonishly long. There is not a shot on the floor safe from that man, that alien of a man. And we were talking about a play earlier where Dennis Schroeder is shooting the ball from the wing, and Wembanyama starts off in the paint, takes one or two steps out, leaps with both hands up, and gets a fingertip on it after what was seemingly a wide open jumper. He is a freak. So that'll be fun to watch. If Team USA gets past Serbia, they're down 10-6. They're able to get past Serbia, which I think they will.
I'm nervous about this game, man, because
beating them 3 times is going to be tough. Or 4. It's going to be like 4.
Yeah, because you saw them in the exhibition games. You saw them in the opening round. No, this will be the 3rd time.
I think they played 2.
Did they play 2 exhibitions?
I think so.
Oh, they might have. Okay.
They did 2 exhibitions in Serbia.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the downside of playing a bunch of teams that you're going to see. Like, it's good for you, too, but, I mean, there's obviously a gigantic case to be made that the best player on the planet right now plays for Serbia. So that can matter. Mm-hmm. That can matter. I'm a little nervous about this. Maybe even moderately nervous about this.
When they met in the first game that counted in pool play, when Jokic was on the floor, it was a tie game at 81.
Yeah.
It took the minutes that he wasn't playing for you to separate yourself by 26.
So this is a big one, man. This is a big one. And again, France is in. A winner will play for the gold medal. So
on Saturday,
gonna be fun.
That's
gonna be fun.
I'll have to hightail it to.
If every once in a while you hear me go like "oh" or "hey" or something like that, you'll know that I have it on in here.
We got a big time game on. Yeah.
So we'll keep you updated on that and a few other things going on around the Olympic Games. I think Noah Lyles runs a little later in the 200 final, so that could be a big deal.
I think he already did.
Oh, did he? Oh, I don't know that yet. Well, then don't tell me anything.
I won't tell you anything. I said, you want me to spoil it for you?
Maybe I'll keep that out of the news at 5.
That way. Or I can have you walk out of the room, and then I can read off the 200 final. And then I'll just yell really loud. Steph Curry heat check. Oh. I think he hit like 3 threes in succession.
Just keep. Hey, feed the beast, man. If that's what Steph needs.
If he sees one go in, give him the green light to shoot 20.
Did he just make another one?
Oh, that was
Serbia. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong. All right, now I see. All right. Ugh. All right. 16-15 Serbia. All right. So we'll keep you updated. And then, man, this game, they're going to score 200 points.
I think this is going to be a good one. Yeah. I think this is going to be a really good one.
Also today, plenty on the Gamecocks. We have a lot of sound we haven't gotten to yet, especially some running back sound. A lot from Rocket Sanders. Some good stuff that Tyler has carved out for us that we'll get to in terms of what Rocket is feeling like right now. Get a little bit more from Lenora Sellers as well. Gage Larvadane with some interesting things on what's going on in the wide receiver room, too. So we got plenty of Gamecock sound throughout the course of the afternoon. Listen, I don't want to dwell on the Harbaugh thing. He's not ever coming back to college football. He did a fine job at Stanford, and I don't think they needed to do what they did with Connor Stallions in order to continue to win. They just needed to recruit and have Harbaugh continue to coach the way he does. The number one thing that Michigan had to do was begin to have at least pull as close to even as possible, in my opinion, Elijah, with the talent levels at Ohio State. That was it. Mm-hmm. Ohio State is maybe always going to be, pound for pound, the most talented team in the country. I don't know that that's ever really change. I mean, certainly at times, a Georgia, a Bama, even a Southern Cal could,
But they might be the most coach-proof program in the country.
I think so. I really do think so. And that's what Michigan needed to do. But this notion from some, I saw Aaron Torres of Fox Sports. Now I've seen Feinbaum say it. And I like all these guys. But Torres especially, and maybe he's just trying to do his thing on his network. But he's still doing the cheeseburger thing. And I'm like, nah, man. And look, I'm not trying to be all Mr. Goody-goody or whatever else, okay? Jim Harbaugh and his staff broke multiple recruiting rules. The school has admitted as much. And then Jim Harbaugh lied about it and then refused to cooperate. That's why this is happening. Now, you can say to yourself, why are they doing it if they know he's not coming back? Well, because you go through a process, and the process has to have a conclusion and some finality. And that's what they've done here to Jim Harbaugh. We know he's not coming back to college football. We know how, dare I say, obsessed he is with winning a Super Bowl. He almost did it once, and he wants to do it. And I think he has a really good shot. He's already got his quarterback. You know, they need some more, but and he's in a division with the best team in football and the best quarterback in football, and that's going to matter.
He's got to play Patrick Mahomes twice.
Yeah, that's going to matter. But this notion from Torres and others, or again, guys like Feinbaum ragging on the NCAA for this. Okay, but Jim Harbaugh broke a rule, multiple rules. And it's not Aaron Torres, and it's not Michigan fans and any other cynic out there just a cheeseburger. It's not. It's you can't break the rule. And really, again, it's kind of a double violation because it was during the COVID dead period, which everybody knew you can't do it. From what they've uncovered at The Athletic, Michigan was given personal tours and had food out, which was a clear violation of regular rules.
Well, I was going to say, like, in a dead period, you can't have them on campus at all.
Right. If they stop onto your campus, that's one thing. But if you have any contact, that's a violation. And they were giving guided tours. And again, the school's admitted it. The school has admitted, yes, we broke COVID recruiting rules. That's why Harbaugh's in trouble. It's not just a cheeseburger. And I keep coming back to my cynical point. Okay, at what price point do we say, it's just a $70 steak? It's just a $200 20-pound lobster or something, right?
Wooing a recruit with the world's largest lobster.
I mean, where do we draw a line? So, but Torres, to continue to pound that drum, I was really disappointed in a national host for doing that. But again, dude's got to do what dude's got to do. So you're sucking up to the Michigan fan base for that.
He was the same guy that said Zach Edey wasn't any good because he was just really tall.
Well, and again, hot takes abound, and I try not to ever be that guy. And I'm not trying to be critical of my fellow radio hosts, be they local, regional, national, international. I just don't tell me it's just a cheeseburger because it's not. It's not just a cheeseburger at all. Yeah, period. So anyway, but again, doesn't matter. Harbaugh's not coming back.
This is making me so hungry.
Serbia has pulled out to a 7-point lead, 25-18, with AD at the line, 3.5 to play first quarter. Keep you updated on that. Got some Gamecock sound to get to, and Alan Cole, Gamecock Scoop, the rival site that covers Carolina, joining us coming up in about 15 or 20 minutes. It's the Thursday postgame show. That's Rocket Sanders feeling very good. Knee, shoulder, all those things hampered him last year. Only played in a half dozen games and was not very productive, as just didn't get rolling at Arkansas for a variety of reasons offensively. But, again, Shane Beamer did a nice PR job at Media Days, and I think it worked. Rocket, I guess, named, if you want to look at it, as one of the top 4 running backs coming into the season in the SEC.
Preseason All SEC.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
So there's that. Welcome back in. Jay and Elijah with you. Again, men's basketball semifinal in Paris, United States versus Serbia. Winner will take on France in the gold medal game. Serbs up 6, 29-23. And they have the ball with a minute to play first quarter. So this could get very interesting for the United States. A couple more here that we'll get to from Rocket Sanders. What did I say? 12 was next, Elijah? Oh, I've already forgotten. I say 2. Yes, 12.
It's not even the last day of the weekend. Our brains
12.
are
12. This is, a lot of people saying, all right, and Shane has mentioned this too. It felt like in a lot of ways with no spring that Rocket was maybe playing catch up a little bit in terms of how he was getting ready to join the team in August. Here's what he said about that.
Summer, it helped me being patient in January and a little spring deal as well. That's what helped me out.
So, hanging around. A lot of guys do that. Not used to it as much, but you have to get it done. So what did that rehab look like? Let's go right straight into the next one. Cut 13. Here's Rocket with more detail on what he.
I want to say it was too much on my shoulder. It was, of course, it was my shoulder, but when it came down to me and with Chip, he showed me the way to where take preparation, and just take one day at a time. Because when I first got in here and I got in with Chip, it was just like I was just ready to go, and just taking everything fast. And I feel like that was with being with Chip. It was like a lot of patient stuff, and just not just working on my shoulder, but working on my mobility of everything, as like my hips, my knees, and everything. And I feel like that was the main thing. It wasn't not just the shoulder.
I don't know what, statistically, I guess is what I'm looking for here, what people are going to look at as target numbers for this kid this year. And everybody wants to have a 1,000-yard running back, right?
Oh, yeah. That's always the goal.
And somebody, and you want to have a guy who also maybe averages for what the offense is going to look like, somewhere between 3 and 5 catches out of the backfield per game, which gets you close to 50 or 60 catches on the season, depending on how you're looking at it. I don't know if those things are realistic. Like I said, if you get 80% of what he did 2 years ago, when he had well over 1,000 yards and had I forget how many catches. I have to go back and find the stats, but it was a few, and when you're looking at some of the other guys that are back there with him, what's the load look like? How, not to borrow an NBA term, is there load management at the beginning of the season? Or do you throw him right in there? Hey, if he's going, he's going. A lot of us are all guilty of being obsessed with statistics relative to just what's productive in relation to the guys around you. So I'll be curious as to what, I guess we'll see it, right? I mean, you'll know what success looks like, but yeah. I'm curious as to where they've maybe put some things up on the whiteboard, or what he has taped in the back of the locker, if you will, about what he's looking to do.
It kind of is like Potter Stewart's definition of obscenity. It's like, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. Yeah. I think we're going to have a lot of that with Rocket Sanders here this season. And look, it's hard to come back from those injuries right away, and that's why, like in the Old Dominion game, I mean, you probably don't want to give him 30 touches, right? I think what the workload's going to look like is the biggest question, because he was a very efficient running back when healthy. His 1,400-yard season, he did pick up over 6.5 yards a pop. He was over 5 yards per carry in his freshman year. Those are the 2 years in which he played all 13 games. that the Arkansas Razorbacks did. Last year, I think you kind of can throw out the window a little bit, but if the offensive line is solid, that's one thing that I'm going to ask Alan about, because he did a really good piece on Tree Babalade and Trovon Ball. If you can get those two guys to make the next step in their run blocking, I think Vershawn Lee's a good enough run blocker. I think Ja'Kai Moore is a good enough run blocker that you're going to be able to put up similar numbers in terms of just the average per carry, right? And if those are the numbers you're getting, I think that's what success is going to look like. I think the workload won't be the same as it was at Arkansas, like as in 2022, where he carried the ball 222 times. I don't foresee that, because you don't go out and get Oscar Attaway. You don't pick up Jawarn Howell. You don't retain Juju McDowell if you don't plan on using some of those guys to be able to spell Rocket. I think one of the reasons why his body broke down a little bit last year was because of that workload. Just look at any single running back in the NFL. Once they reach a 270, I think it was 370 carries in a season, that their bodies break down. Like, unless your name's Derrick Henry, you have worse seasons after that certain benchmark, right? So I think there's kind of a similar thing in college, or 270. I guess the curse of 270 is what Aaron Schatz a long time ago kind of put as the ideal number of, once you have those many carries in a season, you're never the same afterwards. But I think we're going to see a lot more by committee than we might think off the bat. But if we're defining success, I mean, you're picking up 5 yards a carry. No matter how many times you're carrying the ball, you're helping this team.
Absolutely. No question about that. One more on this note before we talk to Alan. Number 11, please, Elijah. And this is Rocket Sanders on managing some of the expectations that have been placed on him.
I see it as, it's expectations, but, a lot of people don't see what's done in the dark, you know what I mean? And I see it as, I leave all the stress and put it on God, you know what I mean, and not worry about the outside when it comes down to putting a lot of load on myself, because it's not just me on the team, you know what I mean. We got guys, at receiver, quarterback, offensive line, so I'm really trying to gain trust with them, you know what I mean, and, be a leader, you know what I mean, not just for myself, but as a team and as a whole, because more goals, more team goals. I got, of course I got self goals, but I feel like when it comes down to it, to a winning team, I feel like got to have team goals as well.
Rocket Sanders, Gamecock tailback, as we are, 23 days from the start of the 2024 football season.
After this weekend, we'll crack the within 3-week mark.
Look at that.
I can almost taste it.
We're almost there. Then it gets into the teens by the time we come back around next week. All right. As we hit the break, United States is down 9 to Serbia. It is 34-25. Serbs have the ball. Just over 8 to play. Three-pointer is good off the bank.
Banked it. Oh, my God.
So
I'm ill.
37-25, Serbia, 8 to play, second quarter. Plenty of time, 40-minute games. It's like college, but with quarters. So a lot of time for the United States, but a big hole to climb out of. And again, this is not necessarily an unexpected point right now for the United States, but
like for Derek White to quit shooting threes,
quit
it's kind of
taking
not
bad shots.
Kind of not your thing, dog.
Yeah.
You're not here for that.
Yeah, he's not, and that needs to be either get him out or somebody holler at him.
You ever have a bad feeling about a game, like a team that's one of your favorites and your heavy favorites in the game, and you automatically from the jump you have just like a very sinister feeling that something bad could happen?
Yeah,
I kind of have that.
This is that.
I got a little weird feeling in the pit of my tummy.
Good, man.
They have the best player in the world on their team.
Yeah, Serbs are good.
He could be a great equalizer.
And if they keep doing, and at some point America is going to have to defend, and it is now a 14-point game. 39-25, 7.5 to play, second quarter. All right, we'll keep you updated. Alan Cole coming up with us. He covers the Gamecocks for Gamecock Scoop, the rival site that covers USC. And as Elijah said, he's done a good deep look at some of the things going on around the offensive line. More of that and his thoughts from camp as the post-game show continues. Talking some Gamecock football on this Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Appreciate you being with us. It is getting worse, not better, for the United States since we left you. Now 42-25. The United States down nearly 20. Joel Embiid just hit one from the elbow.
Thank God.
42-27.
9.6 assists and 3 rebounds for Nikola Jokic. Yeah. We are not halftime.
This is
disturbing.
It is a difficult slog so far for the United States. We'll
I got that.
Keep you updated on what's going on. In the meantime, let's talk Gamecock camp. And Alan Cole is with us. And Alan, you've been on before, and you'll be on again. But I told Elijah earlier that you committed cardinal sin number 1 for yours truly because you called it fall camp. And I said,
oh, boy.
Yeah. And it's
what do you –
well, it's August.
It just summer weather still?
Yeah, it's just, because it's, it's still like, I mean, today it feels like fall, but only because there's a hurricane.
I was going to say the rain, yeah.
So,
a hurricane, I like that. Yeah. Take the E off.
100-degree camp, is that what I should have called it?
August camp, just August camp. But like when our very good friend Steve Fink calls it fall camp, I get like a chill up my spine because I'm like, it's 98 degrees with 80%.
The only chill you're getting in this weather.
Yeah,
Very true.
See,
if anything, you should thank Alan.
There's something.
That.
Well, I should. That's a fair point. Now, Alan is with us covering the Gamecocks for GamecockScoop.com. Elijah and I have talked with guys this week. No news is good news coming out of camp right now. So it's more of a focus on where this ball club needs to get better. Let's start at wide receiver. What you might be hearing and learning about how Mike Furry is beginning to. I don't know, create separation, Alan, may be the best way to say it?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the question for everybody when you bring in, 6 transfers total. The 2 that came in the spring didn't even have a spring ball coming in. So I talked to Mike a little bit last week. Everything about this is just kind of intense. He told me that he was very clear to stress that they have a sense of urgency about this. They don't have time to wait. It's 23 days till the season opener as we talk now, and you just don't really have time for a feeling out process when you don't have a guy like Xavier Legette to kind of safety net for a quarterback, for lack of a better term. Like, you got to figure out who your guys are now, and they're scrimmaging in 2 days from now, and I think even they right now maybe don't know who the number 1 receiver is, but I think that's maybe priority number 1 right now for this football team going through camp.
And one of the big stories from last year, obviously, was not just the poor performance of the offensive line, but the health of the offensive line. Having to play a couple players that weren't necessarily, I would think, ready for SEC football at that point, but they took their lumps in Tree Babalade and Trovon Ball. And, Alan, you got a really good piece on Gamecock Scoop right now talking about the friendship between Tree and Tro. What was the gauge of, I guess, their relationship that you're able to gather, and how do you think they're going to be able to make a jump in year 2 to be able to try to create enough running lanes for a running back like Rocket Sanders, who's shown that with adequate offensive line and run blocking can put up really good numbers in the SEC?
Yeah, I think those 2 guys are so interesting because you kind of just have that natural, progression, friendship. They both came in at the same time. They both got put in the starting lineup the same week. That Georgia game last year, they both kind of followed the same trajectory since they got to Columbia. And I think, like you said, they both took lumps last year. Tree got hurt in October for a little bit, missed some time. And I only think that's going to make them better. Like, I would agree with your assessment. They probably weren't ready for those spots they were in last year. But you do that last year with the idea that they will be better this year for it. You kind of take them physically, and also you as a team take those lumps last year. And I mean, Trovon Ball was an all-SEC freshman for a reason. Tree wasn't far away from it, I don't think. I think that's probably 2 of the spots you feel good about right now on this line would be that left tackle and that right guard, just because you have those talented guys, and you've got guys who have played so many snaps already at this level.
Talking to Alan Cole, Gamecock Scoop. Carolina, as you mentioned, will scrimmage on Saturday. Let's get into a little bit of that, and we'll have our own thought exercise here because we can try to put our minds, Alan, into what the coaching staff is looking for. Let's go. You mentioned, finding that number 1 wide receiver right now, and really probably numbers 2, 3, down to 6 or 7 at this point. What aren't we thinking about, though, right now that you feel like this coaching staff may really want to learn about itself, or where it would like to say, okay, we have this figured out now, or at least as close as possible. Let's worry about these other things. What's another spot right now where they have some need to know type position battles?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind for me is that second cornerback spot. You've got O'Donnell Fortune, who's going to have one of those two, but right now I think it's pretty wide open to the other one. I think Judge Collier is kind of the thought, or maybe the leader of the clubhouse right now, for lack of a better term. But that's something Shane talked about at local media day last week. We're still up for grabs. You've got Emery Floyd, who's played a little bit, who's in the mix there. Bakari Swain, even a guy like Jalewis Solomon, who I don't necessarily think is going to have that immediately, but it's worth remembering that 2 years in a row here, a true freshman's come in week one in the secondary because of injuries, but still, and kind of played immediately. So I think that second cornerback spot might be where there's some evaluation right now, or again, even they're probably not exactly sure who's getting snap one opposite O'Donnell Fortune against Old Dominion.
And this offseason has been a very interesting one for Nick Harbor. He has gotten some, I guess, cult-like fandom for his character on the video game with how fast he is. Yep, that's gotten him his own type of off-the-field legend, but also, he didn't get to spend much time in the spring. He hasn't had any on-time field work with Mike Furry until this past week. And he is the top of Bruce Feldman's freak list for the second straight year, and the only player to ever do so since Bruce has been making that story since 2005. But from what you've been able to gather and the people that you've talked to in the program, what's the actual wide receiver development of Nick Harbor going into a year where he's going to have to be able to show that he can stretch a defense a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's as big of a question as anything for this program this year. You get this five-star talent, this Olympic-level track guy, or at least close to it, and you're not really sure where it comes from. I think everything for him right now is route running, tracking the ball, things like that. The catching the ball can come. I know he had a drop problem last year, but we've heard from everybody, Shane included, Nick included, Mike, Jugs Machine, working on that, reps with Lenoris, things like that. It's almost not even as much the actual catching, I think, for me, and the speed speaks for itself, but it's route running, it's stems, it's, Mike was talking about how you just need that live action with Lenoris Sellers because he really didn't have that last year, obviously, because Spencer was playing. And I think, to me, that's what I'm looking for with Nick Harbor, and maybe what these coaches are looking for when they're actually out in the scrimmage is, what does that actual quarterback receiver timing look like between Lenoris and Nick, and what's Nick's timing like himself just when it comes to running a button hook or running a slant or doing things that aren't just that, obviously, the straight line running that he's one of the best in the country at with the track speed.
Alan, when it comes to quarterback, we know why Robbie Ashford is here, and we know that Shane has, at least penciled in, maybe it's a really dark pencil, Lenoris at number one. But unlike what we knew about Spencer, where it was 99.99999% guaranteed he was the number one guy, right? What are you learning about where the separation is? Lenoris talked about how Robbie can push him and how, they can each help one another, and that's what you do want to hear, and that's a lot of the public stuff. But what is the gap like from what you're learning?
Yeah, I was talking about this with Dowell Loggins last week, offensive coordinator. He told me he had a term he actually took from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He went up there and watched him practice. And apparently Mike Tomlin likes to use the term in the pole position for position separation, kind of using a NASCAR term. And he told me Lenoris is in the pole position, that there is a clear one right now, and that's Lenoris. He's taking reps with the first team, and he is going to be the starting quarterback, provided everything projects the way it should the next 3 weeks. But, again, like you say, Robbie Ashford's here for a reason. Robbie Ashford's played in the SEC. I don't think he's just here to make up the numbers, for lack of a better term. So I think clear separation, and I think it would take something pretty shocking, or an injury, obviously, for Lenoris Sellers not to be the starting quarterback. But I also think Robbie's a pretty clear number two, and there's not really anybody else in that 1-2 right now at quarterback.
What I've gathered, too, when listening to a lot of maybe national perspectives, is when they talk about South Carolina, is the one thing they want to talk about in terms of team strength is the defensive front. Now, last year they did end the season a hell of a lot better than they started. They finally started creating some turnovers. They finally got to the quarterback a little bit. But you bring a lot of those pieces back, and you also add a Dylan Stewart, a Kyle Kennard. You really get a nice facelift with a couple of impact transfers that have some legitimate Division I FBS college football experience. How do you expect a lot of that to pan out in terms of what the defense looks like going into next year, given the momentum they had at the end of last year, and then adding those pieces that are going to be really impactful once we start getting into the actual season?
To me, I think it has to. I don't even think it's negotiable. Like, I don't think this team can get anywhere it wants to go or accomplish any of its goals if the defensive line isn't the strength of this roster. You mentioned the guys coming back. These guys, 4 defensive tackles who all have played significant snaps and at some point have flashed coming back. You even mentioned Gilbert Edmonds back in the program now. He obviously transferred to Florida State last year, but is back at South Carolina now. That's a guy who's been on a conference championship winning team and played a lot of snaps at this level. Montel Goodwine is from Alabama. He kind of projects more as a third down defensive tackle, more of a pass rushing type, but you've got him in there. I don't think there's a unit you have more snaps back, feel better about, or you need to be better more. I think especially early in the year when you're breaking in this offense, you're trying to figure those things we're talking about out, whether it's quarterback, receiver, offensive line, like you're going to need these guys to carry you a little bit, I think. And I think those guys are taking that upon themselves. And I think you're going to know pretty quickly whether you have what you need there up front, especially with that Kentucky game week 2.
Alan, good stuff as always, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll check in with you again real soon, man. Again, Alan, and it's 2 underscores, right? Alan __.
Name's a little too common for 1 underscore. Someone took that out.
It happens. And then Cole, COLE, and GamecockScoop.com is the website. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Good
Have
stuff.
a good one.
All right. As we hit the break, America was down 17, cut it to 10, but it is now 13, 50-37, a minute and a half to play in the first half. Serbia leads the United States. The winner will play for a gold medal against host nation France, and the loser, especially if it's the team in white instead of the team in blue, the team in white being the United States because this is radio, ain't going to feel real good.
Nope. Either way.
And at this point, if Serbia doesn't win, they're going to feel bad because they had a 17-point lead.
It's going to feel like a missed opportunity.
But right now, the United States just needs to defend. Serbia is playing some old-school basketball, man. A lot of ball movement. Kick it out, look for the open man, and they, by and large, are knocking them down at this point.
Oh, they're 9 for 16 from 3. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
That's not bad. That's not bad. We'll keep you updated on this one. And we'll, speaking of updates, our poll question, and we'll revisit a little bit of yesterday's fun as the postgame show rolls on. Welcome back into the postgame show on this Thursday. Jay and Elijah with you. Final from Atlanta. The Braves swept by the Milwaukee Brewers today, 16-7.
Thanks for nothing, Atlanta.
The Braves are in absolute free fall. I don't know what else to say about it. Last night, they lost 8-5. Then the night before, 10-0. Night before that, they lost 7-0 to the Marlins. Again, a AAA team.
The fish. The fire-selling fish.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I don't even mean that as like a slam. They're a AAA team. They just got rid of like their 8 best players.
Yeah. Almost the entire lineup.
Yeah. I mean, they got rid of they're a AAA
Chisholm,
team.
De La Cruz. They kept Jake Berger.
So Braves are in real trouble.
They beat the Reds yesterday too, so I feel it.
United States was down 17. They go to the break down 11. Elijah is trying to make me feel better and says this feels more manageable. I think you're right.
Because LeBron James did the
54-43,
LeBron James,
by the
give
way.
me the basketball, I'm going to score.
Well, that's what it has to be, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what it has to be.
Because they can't guard him right now.
No.
He's getting to the basket at will. He's getting a couple and ones. I think they're probably overthinking a lot of things. Let's just give it to the freight train, who is arguably the greatest player to ever live, and let him win this game for you.
I agree. I think until Serbia can prove otherwise, that has to be the strategy at this point. At least LeBron has to touch the ball. And look, I know everybody on this team is a star. Mm-hmm. I get it. I'm here for it too. A few of these guys, though, in my opinion, will shoot at will. And that can't be the case right now because it will play directly into Serbia's hands. Serbia is going to out-fundamental you at this point, and that's what they're banking on. They're banking on, and I'm going to say this I mean this in a good way, but they're going to bank on America being a bunch of hot shots because they're better than you. Mm-hmm. And again, with one exception on the Serbian team, everybody on look, Joker would start for America.
Yep.
Other than that, nobody else is going to start for America. And they know that. Everybody knows that, and that's fine. But Devin Booker, I can't have you taking an immediate, 18-footer from the wing just because you felt like you were open. LeBron has to touch the ball. Even right now, the way Embiid played the other day, if you're going to have Embiid down low, he's got to touch the ball. Yeah, you got if Steph is on the floor, at least kick it back out and see if there's a look. Move the basketball. But otherwise, I'm with you. Number 6 has to be the focal point and then the focal point again and then figure it out. But if you start taking just wild shots because, I'm great and I make $25, $30, $40 million a year, which the bulk of these dudes do, that could spell the end of America's run of gold medals.
Yeah, and this would be an embarrassing way to do it.
It would.
Against, as great as Joker is,
yeah.
Him and Bogdanovich are the only 2 players that are on NBA rosters right now.
Well, like we said, man, I mean,
they've got some good players.
No, yeah.
But
they're good.
They're
good.
You gotta beat.
But you have to win,
especially because they're not great defensively.
Right.
That's the thing, and now you got to really hope that they fall back to earth when it comes to 3-point shooting, and that's one thing that makes me feel a little better
10,
about it.
Right?
Yeah, made 10 in that first half.
I mean, when their defense,
they probably don't do that again, but
again, their defense in a lot of ways is counting on the United States to take bad shots and be one and done down the floor from that possession. And you got to have a possession. But like we've said, man, and everybody says this isn't you and me. When I say we, I mean the collective basketball world.
Not saying yes in French.
Or yeah, there's 2 outcomes for America: win the gold medal or fail. That's fair or not, and that's not to disparage the rest of the world, but the world is catching up. You can even say at times America distanced itself from the world a little bit more, and the world catches up again. But the world hasn't caught up to the point where you can be like, this is a toss-up kind of game. Now, we've said, too, not to try to sound hypocritical, you better be worried. You do need to be worried, but if you play your game, but if you play into your opponent's hands, they'll beat you. Mm-hmm. And right now, I think in a lot of ways, America is playing into Serbia's hands. On the defensive side, America is being very aggressive. Serbia is making one more pass. Just now as an example, and forgive me, I don't know the little point guard's name that they have, but dude went all the way down to the hole, looked like he was going to go up for it, Obviously, it was going to get swatted away. He saw the extra man, made the pass, one more pass there, bang, wide open 3. They'll do that all day if they have to.
Yeah.
That's
what they do.
They know they're not going to go in, but, America will just collapse and be aggressive defensively, and that's going to leave somebody wide open.
Steph Curry, 6 for 9 from 3 in that first half.
Well, again, Steph and LeBron, I don't care if they're 100 years old, if that's what they're doing. All right? And Devin Booker, step out of the way just a little bit.
Yep.
Despite how good you are, step out of the way.
Those two got to take over.
And let these guys take over. 54-43 at the half. All right, poll question. Some of yesterday's fun. More on the Gamecocks and college football when the postgame show returns. Welcome back in. Second hour of the Postgame Show coming at you from downtown Columbia's Herndon Chevy Studios. Get lucky might be the theme for the next hour or so as we all anxiously watch what's going on in Paris as the United States trails Serbia at the half.
I'm certainly not going to turn down any luck at this point.
Yeah, whatever it takes, man. 54-43. The Serbs lead the Americans men's basketball semifinal. Winner will get host nation France, who won a thriller against hated rival Germany. At least that's what I remember from the history books.
I was going to say they've had a little bit of a shaky past.
That's fair.
Very antagonistic.
That's fair.
Usually if you walk into my house and you say this is your house now and then you kick me out of it, I'm probably going to be a little apprehensive about being your friend ever again.
It's a good analogy.
No.
It's a good analogy. But France got it done today. They won by 4, 73-69.
Defensive.
Yeah, it's good.
Very defensive.
It's a good game, man. I mean, as you said, sometimes it was ugly, but you know what? I'm okay with ugly and dramatic. You know,
Just like the Holy Roman Empire.
so yeah.
A lot of ugliness and drama.
But right now, there's drama for America. Again, listen, if you can outscore the Serbs by 6 points in each of the next 2 quarters, that's not asking that much.
That at all. At all.
Then you'll win the game.
It's a good way of putting it.
That's all I'm asking for.
I will say 11 points feels a whole lot better than almost 20.
Yeah.
Look, if you don't even have a lights out Steph Curry quarter from Steph Curry in that opening period,
Yeah.
you're in like capital T.
Yeah.
Wobble
Yeah.
right now. You are.
Now, I'm
You're
here
in it.
for, each of the next 2 quarters, 20-14 United States.
I can handle that.
You good?
That wins the game.
W is a W.
That's right.
But if not, it's failure.
Epic failure.
Yeah.
Like this team, because this isn't just any Team USA basketball team. Like you go back to the 2020 team from Tokyo, significantly fewer star power on that team.
Right.
You still had some of the headliners, but there was significantly less than what is on this team top to bottom. And it's not even close.
Right.
I mean, your 12th man, basically, in terms of popularity, is Derek White, and that's a guy who just got done being a starting guard of one of the best defensive player. Him and Drew Holiday, the 2 best defensive players on a NBA team that won 60-plus games and breezed through the playoffs and NBA Finals. And those 2 guys were the reasons they did it.
The starting 5 that comes out for the second half is Holiday, Embiid, James, Curry, and Booker. And Joel Embiid knocks down a 3 from the top. Or, was that a 3?
That was a
Okay,
3.
so his
Top
foot was
key.
on the line. All right. So.
All right, well, 8-point game. We're not even out of the first minute.
We'll keep you updated throughout the course of the afternoon. Do want to get into a couple of things, including our poll question, which is still rolling along for one more day. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with the greatest Gamecock moments in the 21st century. We've been doing this all week long after last week's preliminary round, because it's not really a quarterfinal, semifinal type bracket. It was just
Think of it as Olympic sprinting. There are different heats you have to get through,
right,
and win to get to the big heat.
Yeah, we whittled 16 down to 4, and 4 will become 1. Where are we as we speak, Elijah Campbell?
As we speak, in our greatest Gamecock moment since 2000, brought to you by Columbia Craft on Green Street, famously hopped. I ranked 16 of their best beers, Jay. If I know you're going to be into that sort of content.
There you go.
They're dropping that tomorrow on their website, and we'll put it on our Twitter account too. But the poll right now, as it stands, the 2010 College World Series championship against UCLA, the Whit Merrifield hit at 60.9%, running away with 626 of the votes, or 626 votes in total. They have 60.9% of them. In second, a distant second, mind you, a 2010 football upset of Alabama at 19.2%. And then we have a very intense battle for bronze here with the 2017 Women's Basketball Championship over Mississippi State at 10.1%, and the second of 2 on the back-to-back titles in 2011, baseball against Florida at 9.9%.
All right. There you go. And until tomorrow evening?
Until about a little over 24 hours from now. Yeah, tomorrow evening.
Okay. Good stuff. 107.5 The Game on the Twitters.
It's our pinned tweet. It'll be right up at the top of the page.
There you go, to figure that one out. Yesterday, if you were not with us, we had some what we call organic fun here, and I don't mean like, talking about growing stuff, but
I'm not good at that.
At the top of the show, we got to talking about a couple of things, and it led to a question coming up of what movie did you see as a kid, really like under age 12 is kind of where we were drawing a line, like under 12, that you now know as an older, person, probably an adult, that you know what, I saw it. You can't unsee it, but I probably shouldn't have seen that at such a young age.
Your therapist would agree.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't have seen that at such a young age.
I threw out to y'all, for me, it was Jaws and Cujo, somewhat coincidental that they'd be animal-themed. For Elijah, this came about because he had said, as about an 8-year-old, he saw Gladiator, and there's a lot of violence in Gladiator, and maybe 8-year-olds aren't. I mean, believe it or not, kids, that's why they put ratings on movies.
Some content not suitable for younger audiences.
You do figure that's why. Like, for instance, the new Deadpool Wolverine movie is rated R, and I asked my girls, I was like, why is it rated R? And they're like, Dad, well, like Deadpool is not really appropriate for kids the way he acts. And I was like, oh, okay, but I didn't know it'd be rated R.
Like, man, wasn't familiar with his work.
Well, I mean, superhero movies aren't typically rated R, right? They're usually at least like PG-13, I'll give you, or something like that. But anyway, so, I mean, we had hundreds of responses yesterday. Thank you. We appreciate it. We did our best to get to as many as we possibly could, and we will get to a few more. But I threw that out on Twitter as well, and I appreciate y'all hitting me. Rob says Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And he says that was in his single-digit years, yeah.
Woo, yep.
Yeah.
I would say so. I mean, I didn't get to see that one until I was about 24 or 25, later in life.
I don't remember how old I was. Probably 14 or so on VHS.
On VHS.
Yeah, the first.
I wonder what percentage of the submissions we're getting were watched either by sneaking in a theater on VHS or at sleepovers.
Yeah. Well, and we had a bunch of people saying they snuck into a theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our listening audience is really good at sneaking into theaters.
I think the American public was good at that back in the day. I don't know that today they seem more strict about it. Although I don't know, like in some theaters,
dude, it's easy to
today. Now I feel like they tear your ticket at the concession stand. They don't even have anybody back there checking.
They don't tear tickets anymore.
Or whatever.
It's all on your phone.
Yeah, now you just scan it. Yeah, but I just said they don't even have somebody. They used to have like that gatekeeper guy, right, in his nice little suit.
Sitting there at the beginning of every theater, at the front of the doors. Yeah,
down the hall to the right.
I'm telling you, my brother, Lucas Campbell, huge cinephile. Like the way I love sports, that man loves movies, right? When he was a kid, like turning 12, 13 years old for his birthday, my mom would just take him to the theater for the first showing of a movie at like 11 or 12, right? He'd buy one ticket, and he'd be there all day by just sneaking into the other showings of other movies.
Solid.
He made it an all-day marathon. That's what he wanted to do for his birthday every year, from like ages like 12 to 16.
It's good.
Kid loved movies. Still, I've never met a human being that enjoys going to a movie theater by themselves like him, and we'll still do it to this day. I will get long text messages randomly at like 11 p.m. because he went and saw back-to-back movies on a day he was off work. Still does it. He still does.
Donnie says for him, I don't know how old Donnie is, Boomerang. I'm trying to think of Boomerang, I love Boomerang. Boomerang may be the most underrated Eddie Murphy movie there is.
I did not even know. I'm not familiar
Have you seen
with the movie at all. I'm not even familiar of its existence.
Boomerang is fantastic. It's so
I do
funny.
love Eddie Murphy.
And really, the secondary humor that Eddie's not a part of is really, it's a great movie. It's more, honestly, it's a rom-com, which is a departure for Eddie. So it is, I think it would certainly fit the genre of rom-com. But there's the com part is brilliantly written and performed. Check it out. You'll love it. It's very, I love it. So thank you, Donnie. Let's see. John says Halloween 2 was the first in the series. Okay. I guess you were young then, John. I don't know. I don't remember Halloween 2. Because by then, again, yeah, I like the original because, like I say, John Carpenter movies, they end. And then you're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen next. But that was so popular, they made another one, but he didn't do it. Let's see. Another one here. Dazed and Confused, age 11, probably wasn't the best thing to watch. Yeah, probably not. That sort of, it's kind of like the guy yesterday with Porky's.
Yeah.
At a young age. Like, there's a few things in there you're like, oh, I like that. And then there's other stuff you're like, I don't get that, or I don't know what that means, or I don't know if I should, so I can appreciate Dazed and Confused maybe in that line.
In that category. Just got a call in from someone named Bill who said at age 14 he went and saw Animal House in theaters.
Yeah, I think Animal House at 14, you're fine. Again, that's why I say, really, I'm going.
You're on the cusp. Yeah, you're on the cusp of it at that point.
Under 12 is what we're going. Because there's just some things that you just don't quite understand yet.
Oh, here's a good one. Christopher on the YouTube chat says a movie I probably should not have seen before age 12: A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, again, you're not gonna, yeah. I don't know. I mean, listen, you should see that. It is a really good movie, but you do need to.
With some great themes to the movie.
Yeah.
But they're the first, 25, 30 minutes or.
And you got to be.
They can be a tough watch.
You got to be ready to handle it, yes. And prepared. Prepared. That's a good way to put it. Let's see. This one, for Children of the Corn, when I was 7, this guy says, scared me to death. I'm 45 now, still won't watch it. I don't like that movie. It just creeps me out. I don't know. I think they remade one, or maybe they even have some spin-offs of it or something. But I'm talking about the one, from the early to mid 80s. And that might have actually been one that we saw in the theater. I can't remember if I saw that in the theater. But I don't like that movie. Children of the Corn, I don't like. And Waddy throws another Porky's and Blazing Saddles in, along with Airplane and Police Academy, all before the age of 12, I guess, Waddy. Airplane, I saw Airplane pretty early on. And Police Academy is pretty funny. I like Police Academy. Original Police Academy is actually very good. And again, Blazing Saddles is a classic. Porky's is funny, man. But again, if you're young, and Franklin, my buddy Franklin Buchanan says it. Yeah, we had a couple of its yesterday, didn't we?
The Eddie Curry one is the most terrifying one. I think that one. Tim Curry, yeah. Eddie Curry, yeah. Eddie Curry as the center of the Chicago Bulls was definitely terrifying. Yeah, Tim Curry, yes. Definitely the more terrifying Pennywise than whichever Skarsgård brother has portrayed it in the remakes.
No doubt.
I feel pretty good about that one.
United States is now down 6.
Still 3:25 to go in the third.
Drew Holiday with a corner 3. 3.5 to play. Under really 3:15 to play now in the third quarter. United States losing to Serbia.
Get some stops.
Got to get some stops.
I need to see some people slapping the floor right now.
So if you want to play along with that the rest of the day, we'll throw a few more of those in for you. Got a couple of things to get to from some more Gamecock players, a lot of Gamecock sound, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on at the Olympics. A big one for the USA, 65-59, 3 minutes to play third quarter, down to Serbia. This is the Thursday postgame show.
Quick word, my friends over at Columbia's Secret for Weight Loss. Look, this month, it's August, which means it is 1 year since Columbia's Secret for Weight Loss has gotten into this market and has helped out a ton of people, have helped out so many people to achieve their weight loss goals the same way they helped me out. Look, it doesn't matter the goal, right? It can be a small weight loss goal. Maybe you want to get back to your ideal weight from a few years ago, or playing weight if you were an athlete at some point. No matter what the goal is, they can help you out with it. And they do so by being great coaches. Paul Grant and Shaylin at Columbia Secret for Weight Loss were fantastic coaches for me, talking me through what I need to eat, what portions are best for somebody of my size. Look, I'm 6'4", and I started the program at about 230 pounds. They gave a diet for me that worked, and they can do the same thing for you. 803-824-4210. Again, 803-824-4210 for Columbia Secret for Weight Loss. Results may vary.
Welcome back into the Postgame Show on this Thursday afternoon. Jay and Elijah with you. 803-404-6100 to join us on the phone lines. Firehouse Subs text line, having a little fun from yesterday. Just, again, we got to as many as we could yesterday on the movie that you saw as a youngster, like under 12, that you Probably shouldn't have. Probably shouldn't have.
Bad idea in hindsight.
That might have scarred you, like Elijah and Poltergeist.
Didn't look under my bed for a long time
Had a
after
few
that.
people hit us with that, or something, like It, or Children of the Corn, or perhaps again, a now seemingly harmless coming of age, guy comedy, and you're like, I don't know what that means, or
you,
yeah,
at that moment in time,
and you maybe you go say a word in front of an adult that you thought was funny because people laughed when you saw that movie, and then you realize, oh,
not for me.
Yeah, and there's other things that I could say about some of those films that guys are into, but
Dude humor.
Y'all get it, right? Y'all get it.
I get it.
So there you go. What I don't get is why the United States continues to do what we said they shouldn't do, and that is have dudes that don't shoot three-pointers start shooting three-pointers.
Bam Adebayo shouldn't. Kick him off the team right
why
now
is he
for
shooting?
that shot.
Yeah, I mean,
kick him off the team. Send him to the locker room and say your services are no longer needed. Get the hell out of here. It's a Patrick Ewing clip. I don't know if you remember that clip from a few years ago, where Patrick Ewing's coaching Georgetown. He's looking at this kid. He goes, "When have you? Do you practice that shot? When have you shot that shot?"
Right.
And he's just berating the kid for taking a shot he never shoots. Bam Adebayo will never be confused with Steph Curry at all.
No.
That's not something that will ever happen. And you're wasting possessions. And now Serbia's busted this game wide open.
Yeah, it's back to
this would be an embarrassing loss.
It's back to a 13-point lead. You got 10 minutes left. Got 10 minutes left. So Serbia, what we said was going into the second half, America was down 11. Hey, outscore them by 6 in each quarter. You win. They got outscored by 2. You're losing.
Yeah.
I can do that math.
Yeah. This feels.
Oh, they're gonna. I don't think you're. I mean, if you outscore Serbia by 14 points, congratulations, you deserve to win. But that you're in this deep a hole after 30 minutes, and again, this is not NBA quarters. This is 40 minutes of basketball. That's what international play is. So you got 10 minutes left, man. LeBron sat for the last 2 minutes, so I imagine he doesn't come out of the game unless
he shouldn't.
Unless he fouls out. I don't know what his foul situation looks like right now. I think he's okay.
He's only got 1 foul.
Yeah, he's fine.
The only player in foul trouble for Team USA is Anthony Davis with 3. Jokic has 3, so maybe attacking him offensively and maybe hope that large polar bear with Magic Johnson type passing skills might end up getting a couple fouls. Because look, last game when Jokic was on the bench, you outscored these dudes 29-3.
Right.
You need that type of run right now, and you're not going to do that with that large man in the game.
No. You got a lot of work to do here. All right, let's get back into some sound from the Gamecocks.
Yeah, before I throw up.
Yeah. Let's get to some of these Dale Von Campbell cuts, please, sir. Number 16 is one I'm interested in. Dale Von, of course, had a nice year at Nevada last year. But, play out there a little bit different than the SEC. He was asked what it's like going up against some of these Gamecock DBs in practice relative to what he was accustomed to out west.
You saying quarterbacks or
corner? Defensive corner.
Oh, corner. It's been I feel like skill position, it's not that really big of a drop-off. I mean, when I was at Illinois, I was there with Devin Witherspoon, and I'll be honest, he was a ball player. So, just me going against him every day kind of like helped me be the player I am today. And so even here, we got some real good corners here. So it's kind of been an adjustment, but I've been fitting in fine.
So, I we'll see, right, how that goes over the course of the entire season.
He's intriguing.
Yeah, but I like what this kid's going to bring. I mean, 6'4", 220, big target, very experienced. And, look, I'm not going to sit here and predict. I don't know. I don't have enough to go on to say, oh, I could see this guy emerging or that guy emerging. We were talking with Alan Cole of Gamecock Scoop last hour, about what Mike Furry has in front of him. And until we have some further guidance from the inside, I don't know what any of us are going to, other than just thinking, I think, again, fans probably want to see Nicholas Harver become the number one for some obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody gets that. Will he? I don't know. But I can see a guy like this who's in his 6th year of college football,
Very
Campbell I'm talking about, being a guy who simply emerges based on the fact that he knows what he's doing and he's got a lot of experience under his belt. But I think a guy like that, I think a guy like Jared Brown is going to be equally intriguing. Now, Brown is very different. He's under 6 feet. You know, he's going to be a guy that's going to be more inside for you, I'm sure. But, you know, those guys with experience are going to have to be the ones that emerge. But I think Campbell is interesting. One more from him. The very next one, please, Elijah, number 17. Just as a quick one here on what he's looking to do this season.
Individually, you know, I want to prove I'm one of the best receivers in the nation. And I want to go on the field and show that. And I just want to show, you know, I'm a team player and that I can play at the highest levels. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the main thing.
There you go. And he wants to get to the next level, which everybody does when you get to this level. So can he go get it done?
He's got the size for it.
He does.
Yeah, 6'4", 220. I mean, if he proves he can be able to stretch a defense, an SEC defense, given the way the receivers are constructed for this year's Gamecock team, that impact alone is going to look really good for other NFL teams that might have similar makeup. Everybody's got one or two of those guys that can stretch the field, but sometimes they can be harder to find, especially with that type of height. So that's one of those things that he can maybe find himself a niche in the NFL if he can prove that he can help elevate an offense at this level.
Staying with the wide receiver group, Vandrevius Jacobs comes in from Florida State without a whole lot of experience under his belt or production, but at least coming in from a program that was very successful offensively last year, so being able to see it, how can he apply it? But first, cut number 18 here. This is Jacobs talking about what he sees from the guys he's working with and against.
But really, all the receivers, they're hungry. So all of us, we're hungry to make plays and just to watch each other grow and watch each other make plays. So we're unselfish. We got that unselfish mindset. Like, if someone else making plays, you feel me, good job to them. You know, we happy for them. And whenever it's our opportunity, we're going to do our best to make the play too. So I feel like we all just hungry. We all got the same goal, just get better each day.
And you got to find a way to get some separation, as we say. Those are the kind of themes of what we're looking at from wide receivers. The very next cut, please, Elijah. Why did you choose South Carolina? Here's what he said.
Well, the biggest thing was really just the offensive, like the offensive system, just the offensive scheme. I felt like that's the Florida State scheme really ain't fit me best. You feel me? That's not like, I'm really not that type of receiver to like play in that best fit in that system. So when I got in the portal, D-Lo, I seen this offensive scheme. I just fell in love with it. Like, this is the offense I want to play in. You feel me? Everybody eat, everybody get the same amount of opportunities, and we switch it up a lot. So, really, just the offensive scheme and just the offensive play calling. You feel me? Just like offense I wanted to play in for sure.
Good stuff.
I actually did find something very interesting in that about everybody eating and facilitating it around, because I think you're going to have a lot of very active players in this offense on the perimeter. It just does. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite Mike Leach quotes, because you could write a whole book about the best ones. But he said, balance isn't going 50% pass, 50% run, because that's 50% stupid. It's being able to distribute the ball. Now I'm paraphrasing the part where now it's about distributing players across the board. If you're only throwing the ball to one or two receivers and you're giving the ball, 50% of the time, and you're giving the ball to a running back, the other 50% of the time, that's not balanced, because you're only including 3 or 4 guys in your offense. Every single team that Mike Leach had always had receivers that were incredibly deep, and they're all being used pretty equally for the most part. I think that's one thing about this offense now. I think that if even given the question marks that we have about this wide receiver room, there can be a balance in terms of how you use the array of weapons that you actually have, and given the different skill sets. And I think what Mr. Jones hit on there was a pretty good indicator of what that might end up looking like, and that's just by feeding a lot of mouths and generating your offense to the depth that you have.
We'll come back with more sound from the Gamecocks throughout the afternoon. Obviously, updates from Paris as the United States attempts to make a comeback. They're trying, down 5 right now. But it'll be Serbia ball when we come back. And Seth Emerson and the crew at The Athletic have put together what would it be like if there really was a Big Ten SEC challenge this season in football. We'll do that for you throughout the afternoon as the postgame show continues.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways. We'll start with some good news, though. We've had 2 accidents that have been cleared, both on 26 East, one at the Columbia Avenue exit 91 and Broad River Road near exit 97. That traffic jam has been cleared, as well as one near exit 115 on 26 East. Still got a couple of active accidents causing some active traffic jams, starting with one on Trotter Road at Garner's Ferry Road, another one on North Brickyard Road at North Springs Road, and lastly, one on 77 southbound just after exit 1.
We are talking Gamecock football. We are talking Olympic basketball. We are talking movies you shouldn't have seen as a kid that you did anyway. And how did it work out for you? All of that and more throughout the day. This is turning into something scary, but America's trying to make a comeback. It's 84-80, 4.5 to play. United States trails Serbia. Joel Embiid from about 8 feet knocks it down, 84-82.
He better score the basketball, given how many offensive rebounds he just gave up in a 2-possession stretch.
America was down 17 in this game. They are down 2 with 4 to play, but still a long way to go. Nikola Jokic is in foul trouble with 4. LeBron just committed 2 quick ones. I don't know where. So is he at 3?
Ooh, let me refresh the box score.
But America's trying to turn it on here, kids. Again, winner to the gold medal game. France has already beaten Germany in the other semifinal, so France will become the first host to medal at all, any color, in the Olympics since the United States won gold in Atlanta. Again, first host
Ron
to
James
medal.
is at 3 fouls.
3 fouls, okay. So America is trying to turn up the defensive intensity and get back into this one. And but there are times when they have been giving up some offensive boards. So
I wanted to rip every single hair follicle.
LeBron James through the middle ties the game at 84. My God. Y'all, I wish we could play this live for you. We can't. And I know that this is live radio, or we're kind of doing this, and we have to be careful to say these things after they are done.
So we can't give play-by-play.
But this is just the fans in us that are coming out. So I'm just trying to be. This is like full disclosure. We are as nervous as anybody. Obviously, if you're around a television, you can probably go watch. But if you're in the car, or you're somewhere at work where you can't watch, we're doing our best to keep you updated. But I right now, Elijah and I both are on absolute pins and needles, if you will. So this is what live radio is about sometimes when this game is going on like this. But I just told Elijah. This is like where you joke if you're a FM radio station, like a music station, or you are an FM station.
We are
an FM station, but a rock station, and you're playing as one of the Simpsons things. Get ready for the extra long version of Inagata-Davida, We'll be back in 17 minutes. Or since I'm a jam band guy, if I could find that.
You could find
that 21-minute, in memory of Elizabeth Reed that I have from New York City back in the 70s. We'd be playing all 21 minutes of it right now. Because it's one song. Allman Brothers. Jam band, by the way. So, very nervous. 84 all. So, listen, it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet.
Not yet.
Got to find a way to get it going. We'll kind of bridge the gap here with a 2-parter. But our buddy Seth Emerson, longtime friend of Columbia and the show, of course, now based in Athens covering the Southeastern Conference, not just Georgia, and Scott Dockerman, who covers the Big Ten, put this together. They have, as we all know, conference challenges, ACC, SEC, or SEC Big 10 or Big 12. I
love them, yeah.
It's ACC, SEC right now, yeah?
It is now, yep. Yeah. Used to be SEC Big 12.
Big 12, right.
They ran that for a while.
So they have those now. What if we had one in football? And so what Scott and Seth did was take it and basically they kind of seeded it like, from order of predicted order of finish this season. And they do make a point because there's 18 schools in the Big Ten that they left Indiana and Purdue out because they were 17 and 18. So they left them out.
Poor Purdue.
All right, yeah.
Talk about a free fall for a program.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I remember when that Michael Penix guy was at Indiana. They were good. What happened to him?
I think he left.
Yeah. So
He's going to play quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins at the same time. They're going to play both of them.
all right. So I'll ask you live radio. Would you like me to start at the bottom and work up in terms of how this plays out?
Sure. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that then. So we have the 16s. Vanderbilt versus Northwestern. By the way, they said that all of these they would play on a neutral field.
That was the best part about this.
Yeah.
Determining the neutral sites.
Yes. Vandy Northwestern, they said they'll play in Boston's. Two of the nation's elite institutions of higher learning should compete on a gridiron worthy of their splendid athletic and academic prowess at Harvard Stadium. And their coaches need tweed jackets for the sideline. Dockerman predicts Northwestern over Vandy 24-6. Seth says Northwestern 31-14.
Those are accurate.
Yeah.
Northwestern's not going to be they're not going to be great by any means, but I think they're a lot better than what the Big Ten voting media gave them credit for.
Yeah. By the way, sorry. Okay. The United States has taken the lead 89-86, under 2. LeBron needs to just take over.
He just did right there.
Yeah, he did. That's just the LeBron takeover show. The 15s, Mississippi State versus Michigan State in Louisville. He says, or they say, almost a perfect midpoint. When you're picked 15th, you may need to down some bourbon, so there's plenty of that. Dockerman says Michigan State 30, Mississippi State 22. Seth agrees with the outcome, with Michigan State beating Mississippi State 38-21. So far, it's Big Ten up.
Some interesting themes that you learn from this. But, yeah, I'm going Michigan State, too. I like both teams were portal depleted.
For me, with Mississippi State, I don't know yet. I have no idea if Jeff Levy has enough left over in the cupboard from the Mike Leach years relative to what help me out. The 1-year guy, the defensive coordinator.
Oh, Zach Arnett.
It's Arnett that took over and then completely decided to change what they did, except for the one game against South Carolina.
We're like, oh, yeah, Will Rogers can throw for 450
it's
yards.
Like they did for one game.
Yeah.
They came here and said, yeah, let's go back to the old way.
And then they watched the film and said, oh, God, never again.
Yeah, which I don't know why. The 14s, Arkansas versus Illinois in St. Louis in the Dome.
The Bielema Bowl.
Illinois 24-13 says Dockerman. Seth says Illinois 28-20. So far, the Big Ten is 3-0, according to these guys.
I think I'd take Illinois here, too. Yeah.
So the 13s, might we finally get a Southeastern Conference winner? South Carolina versus UCLA in the middle of the nation in San Antonio. Seth, I know this is Seth writing this, by the way. He says, somewhere in Texas is the easy call unless the Gamecocks are willing to cede home field advantage so they can visit Pasadena, which they could do to get out of that humidity in Columbia.
Preach, brother.
Yeah. You know what? Shane will play UCLA out at the Rose Bowl. He wouldn't care.
I think if you look at both these rosters, though, I don't care if you play it at the Rose Bowl, Williams-Brice, the Toilet Bowl, wherever you play this football game. I like South Carolina. I'm not very high on UCLA.
Dockerman says, I feel confident writing UCLA will not be able to cover Nick Harbor or the Gamecocks. Carolina 37-27. Seth says a toss-up. Without much confidence, I'll pick the SEC team, mainly because of the concern about UCLA's defense returning just 2 starters. Carolina 34-28. So the Gamecocks.
They lost a lot.
Pick up a win.
Seth is less confident than I am, though.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about South Carolina, even on any type of field, beating UCLA.
The 12s, Florida versus Minnesota in Ames. Ugh. Oh, come on. I'm sorry.
This game will be viewed by dozens.
That was really mean.
In person.
That was really mean. I'm sorry to the folks of Ames. I should not. But I mean, at least play it. I don't in a.
Well, if Florida can get a winning season, which I don't think they've had since 2020, once you do that, you can play a neutral site game outside of Ames. I think this is a fair punishment for that program flushing itself down the.
Here's the first split between these two. Scott Dockerman, who covers the Big Ten, says Gophers 34-24.
Gophers aren't bad.
Seth says the Gators eke it out 23-21.
My vote is that the Gators eke it out, too. And I say eke it out because Minnesota is better than people think.
Yeah, or you can just go eek like it's scary.
Way too young.
Okay, so 1 minute, 4 seconds left. 91-86 United States. America has come from 17 down to take a 5-point lead, but Nikola Jokic is going to the line. So he should sink these because he's good at shooting free throws. Oh, okay. No, sorry. That was on the floor.
They had,
okay.
they had some to give, too.
Okay. My bad. I thought he was going up for a layup there.
Which isn't a terrible foul.
No, if he's not going to the line, it's a good foul. I'll give you that because otherwise he probably makes that. But now they get an and one. Oh, boy.
Great defense, Joel. That's awesome. You were so good on the defensive end. That's really
So
good.
91-88, Serbia at the line, 56.4 to go. We will update you on the other side because it could be done. And if you're in the car, we will do our best to keep you updated. This is the Thursday afternoon postgame show. This may be the kind of music we need for a bump right now that's a little calmer than some of the ones that we come in with here. The United States has done it.
Oh, my God. No business winning that game.
95-91. America down 17 to Serbia in the second quarter, down 11 at the break, down 13 going into the fourth quarter. And America wins by 4. An absolute brilliant display on both ends in the fourth quarter. You feel gutted for Serbia. I do. It's a good basketball team. Nikola Jokic is a tremendous talent. Bogdanovic is a tremendous talent. They're very well coached. They played their game as best they possibly could.
I think they're going to kick Germany's ass on Saturday.
Yeah,
I feel pretty good about that.
I'll be curious. I don't disagree with you.
But if they have the energy.
Yeah, I mean, and really as much mental energy as physical energy. Because that's going to take, and a couple of those dudes, I get it, man, it's sports. A couple of these dudes are crying. I get it. I probably would be too. There is something to play for. Winning a medal is a big deal. Everybody knows that America is the best at this. And as we said, for America, whether it's fair or not, there are two outcomes. There are gold medal and failure. And that's just what America is. That's why we talk about this. This isn't like the World Cup in soccer where Argentina and Brazil and France and Spain and England and Germany and Italy are all capable of winning this thing, or a Morocco or a Croatia find their way into the semifinal. America's supposed to win this. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, it's because America found a way to lose this.
And they just about did.
They did. They were really sloppy in the first half.
Defensively, they were atrocious.
They were terrible. They were allowing Serbia to make the extra pass, get the open look. Serbia knocked down 10 threes in the first half.
A lot of them open.
Yeah. America was taking bad shots from decent looks, but it played right into Serbia's hands of, hey, let them go down and shoot once. We'll get the rebound. And Serbia was in position to say, here, take this bad shot. Or take this okay shot, and if it's a 50-50, then half the time they're going to get them. And really, they did a better job. But America in the fourth quarter locked it down.
In that fourth quarter, you cannot convince me Joel Embiid had any interest in grabbing a defensive rebound.
No, but he did make some big plays on the other end. Yeah, I'm with you because maybe he's looking at fouls. I don't know. We'll find out in post game what he may have been looking at. But
Serbia is a really good team. They should not grab 9 offensive rebounds. They should not grab more offensive rebounds than you. Given your athleticism, your length, your depth, there's zero excuse for them to have that many offensive rebounds.
But, man, like I said, y'all, I know it's live radio and it gets a little awkward for us trying to describe what's going on when we can't take you to it live. It's not allowed. So we have to do as best we can, and we really can't tell you that, we can't go live play-by-play even. We have to wait like a second or two to tell you what's happening. But we can tell you now that it's over, that the United States came all the way back. Again, being down 17 in the second quarter is one thing. You were down 13 going into the fourth.
You had it broken down to where if you can get just down by 6 going into the fourth quarter.
That's what I was telling you. I said to Elijah at halftime, hey, just outscore them by 6 in each of the next 2 quarters. And instead, they decided to wait and then outscore Serbia by 17 in the fourth quarter and erase that entire 17-point deficit.
They outscored Serbia 32-15.
And for what it's worth, the Serbs kind of feel this in reverse because in the quarterfinal the other day, Serbia was down in the first half by 20 to Australia. Patty Mills was going nuts, kind of like the Serbs did in this game. And Serbia came all the way back to take a lead. And then at the end of regulation, Patty Mills hit a jumper to go to overtime, in which Serbia won the basketball game. Today, Steph, 36 points on 9 of 14 from 3, and he had 8 boards.
Saved him.
And he made 2 crucial free throws to go from 93-91 to 95-91. And he was basically looking over at the Serbian bench before he shot both of them. I'm going to make these. Y'all realize that, don't you?
He said, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
You gave us a really good run.
And he knocked him down. So at that point, you can allow Serbia to go down and shoot, and America did. And here we are.
LeBron James, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists.
Machine.
An Olympic triple-double.
Machine.
Very hard to do.
That's his second
Very hard to
triple-double
do.
of the tournament, yes?
I think so.
And,
or he had a near one. I think he had a near
I
triple-double.
think he had one, right? You should check that
Might
out.
have been.
But
Let me
because
check
I was
that out.
thinking that he had one, and it was the first one since he had one in the 16 Olympics.
It's remarkable.
LeBron, man. What is he, 72?
Something like that.
78?
Methuselah's age.
Dude, if LeBron, the way LeBron's playing, forget about this whole he wants to play with Bronny thing. This isn't, as I've said before, like Ken Griffey Sr. was a really good baseball player who played in the major leagues for like 20 years or whatever. But he wasn't his son. And I don't know what Bronny's going to be. But my point being, by the time Ken Griffey Jr. was playing with his dad, Ken Sr. was like a pinch hitter in a losing game.
He was done. Yeah.
LeBron's almost 40, and he's still one of the 3 best players on the planet.
Without a doubt.
Remarkable. America wins. Headlines of the day. More from Gamecock football and a drive around the SEC. We'll finish up this fun pretend SEC Big Ten challenge later on.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon. We'll go ahead and start with some good news, and that's that the accident on 77 southbound over at Exit 1 has been cleared. The traffic moving much more smoothly through that area. We do have some active accidents causing active traffic backups. One on Trotter Road at Garner's Ferry Road. Another one on Rabin Road near South Carolina 555 and Faro Road. One on Pilgrim Church Road at Old Cherokee Road. One on Hardscrabble Road at Clemson Road. And lastly, in Lexington County, we have one just now reported on 26 eastbound over at Airport Boulevard near Exit 113.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Thursday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the Postgame Show, along with Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Thank you for being with us. We'll stay with the big story of the last few minutes, and that is that the United States men's basketball team has just defeated Serbia 95-91 in the semifinals of the Olympic tournament. The United States will now get host nation France on Saturday afternoon for a gold medal. USA was down 17 at one point in the second quarter, down 11 at halftime, and down 13 going into the final quarter. They outscored Serbia 32-15 in the fourth. Steph Curry led the way for the United States with 36 points on 12 of 19 shooting. LeBron James had 12 rebounds and also led the team with 10 assists. Just a spectacular display in the fourth quarter after what had been a very ugly game. LeBron finished with 16 points and 10 assists, so a double or a triple-double for LeBron today. Joel Embiid had 19 points. He did start today, 8 of 11 from the floor, and he made 2 three-pointers today as well, but just 4 rebounds for Joel. Devin Booker didn't play a lot today, had 6 points against Steph with 36. Kevin Durant had 9 points off the bench, but a couple of big buckets in the fourth quarter for KD to help the United States make their way back into this one. You feel badly for Serbia. Their only 2 losses in this tournament are to the United States. They will play Germany on Saturday morning for the gold medal. But America and France, Elijah Campbell. I got a hunch that this is probably what most people wanted to see. Yeah, the best team in the world against the host nation.
I think this is a fair thing to expect.
Yeah.
In terms of what you wanted to see, I think you could probably say that too, because when you look at the rosters of non-American teams in these Olympics, France, I think, along with Canada, have the 2 most NBA players, or I guess a concoction of NBA players on their roster.
Canada had 9.
Yeah.
Australia had about
Australia's,
a few.
If you count non-active NBA players, which is Matthew Dellavedova, they probably had like 6.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you look at France, they have some really good NBA talent, headlined, obviously, by that alien who plays in San Antonio in the regular season, the 7'4" player with an almost 8-foot wingspan, who also plays on the outside and can defend all 5 positions and will be a perennial defensive player of the year for years on end. Oh, they also have the defensive player of the year that's won that award like 4 times in Rudy Gobert.
He's
only played 9 minutes the last 2 games.
I was going to say, today, his usage today was interesting. I don't know if there's something up.
I just don't think you can play him and Wemby on the floor at the same time.
Yeah.
Wemby is not a good enough three-point shooter yet to fix the spacing issue you would have with those 2 taking up the floor at the same time. Granted, it'd be hard for other teams to score, but offensively, it's just not a great lineup.
I'm not sure how big the arena is. It's very big. I think it has. I think it's 20. It's like 25,000. It's a big place where they're playing. Maybe there'll be like 1,000 people cheering for America.
If that, I think that's ambitious. I mean, can you imagine every time Joel Embiid touches the ball, how he's been booed ruthlessly this entire tournament?
I'd be wary. I'd be a little, because it's seemingly now, like at first I think it bothered him. and now it's not.
Yeah.
And so, again, today he had 19 points. He had about that many the other day, right? He's I think he got over it.
He's figuring it out.
And listen, again, as we've said, he plays for Philadelphia. Every time Philadelphia goes to Boston or New York, other places too, but especially Boston or New York, they, I'll be very nice here, don't like you.
They give it to him.
So he's used to it.
And
right?
he brings it on himself.
Yeah.
Like he's never shied away from it.
Well, and today he was almost like, let's go. Come on, crowd. And again, he had 19 points. So on 8 of 11.
He did shoot the ball really well. And actually, when he got the ball in the paint, did not let the lack of space around him bother him for what I thought was probably the first time in this tournament. Offensively, he was really good.
Joel also had 2 assists and a block today. So he filled out the stat sheet pretty well. So, again, America moves on with a 95-91 thriller. A big comeback. Again, down 17 points in the second quarter, down 13 going into the fourth.
It took shooting 16 to 32 from 3 to win that game.
Man. That's
50% three-point shooting on 32 shots.
There aren't a lot of times, and I know I'm like a year or two older than you.
Not by much. Yeah.
There aren't a lot of times in my career where I've had to watch a game and try to do my show. And hopefully do it well enough. But I guess what I said to the audience, to y'all in the last, 30, 45 minutes ago, like full disclosure, Elijah and I are sitting here like nervous as all get out.
I'm afraid to lift up my arms on this video stream because I don't want anybody to see the sweat that is accumulated underneath my armpits. It's not pretty on this shirt. I should have brought a spare, but I could definitely feel my heart racing a little bit. I had that awful feeling when Serbia got up early. I was like, this could be a bad sign.
When America had cut it to 5, and then Serbia went back up by the aforementioned 13 in the fourth, I was like, oh, well, not happening today. Because sometimes, as we say, in sports, it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you just figure, okay, it was Serbia's day, and you were going to have to give them their due. But with 10 minutes to go, America said, not so fast, my friend. Speaking of shirts, I just looked down. I remembered I'm wearing a Wicked Weed T-shirt today, so I could use a Cold, Pernicious, or Freakin' Nature right about now.
Absolutely. Might have to hit up might have to make a stop at my friends at Columbia Craft after just for the nerves.
Yeah, and just to celebrate. Cheers, USA.
We did it. Saturday's going to be fun.
Saturday afternoon, America and France. From the elation of the United States win to the bottoming out that is the Atlanta Braves baseball season. Atlanta lost today 16-7. Atlanta has lost 5 in a row. The scores 16-7, 8-5, 10-0, 7-0, and 4-3. Jackson Churio of the Brewers today hit 2 home runs as Milwaukee swept Atlanta at Truist Park. Atlanta is now technically in 3rd place in the East, and it's slipping away from it. Just 6 games over 500, and it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. Atlanta will be at Colorado tomorrow night. So they travel today out to Denver, start a series in Denver tomorrow night.
Yes, the Mets would have leapfrogged them. Yeah.
They're both at 8. I guess there's something in the tiebreaker that says the Mets are up. I don't know why, but they're listed in 3rd right now in the standings. But they're both 8 back of the Phillies. And again, the Phillies had been swooning of late as well, and Atlanta went the wrong direction.
Finally, once the Phillies finally start losing baseball games.
More bad news for Atlanta fans as we continue our integrated media headlines of the day. This to the Falcons. Rondale Moore is done for the season with a knee injury. It happened today, or you guys said it happened yesterday in a joint practice with the Dolphins. But today, the team officially listed their receiver as done for the year. The pass was, according to this report, an incomplete pass. Was seemingly inconsequential, it says, until Moore was seen down on the opposite side of the end zone. He was acquired from the Cardinals back in March for Desmond Ridder, who had been Atlanta's starter last season. So that's more bad. And again, when you have news, typically if there's camp news, it's rarely good news.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just
Unless a player is ending his holdout.
Yeah, or something.
I think
to
that's
that
the
effect.
only positive news I think you can get.
Or one other kind of news like this as we continue some NFL stuff. Nick Foles is going to retire, interestingly enough, against the Atlanta Falcons when the Eagles have their home opener against Atlanta on September the 16th. He released a statement today through the club that said, quote, "I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to retire. As a Philadelphia Eagle, the city of brotherly love has always felt like home to me as an NFL player. Philadelphia is a city I truly love. It has been an honor to wear the Eagles jersey." He played for 6 teams in 11 years after he was drafted by the Eagles back in 2012. And, of course, is it probably their proudest moment when he won the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was 7 years ago now.
Ooh,
Philly
God.
special was 7 years ago. It's crazy.
Where did time go, man?
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
weird. I still remember just being absolutely mind blown at that play. One of my favorite plays in the history of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Well, I remember
The stones it takes to call
Yeah.
that play, too.
I remember our great friend Deuce Staley coming on about a week after, and it was a great interview. It went like 20 minutes or something. And the reason I say it went about 20 minutes is he called me after the show, and he says, "Jay, I hope I didn't go too long and like bore people." I was like, "Deuce," and I said it to him like this. I said, "The running backs coach of the Philadelphia Eagles just took us into the entire offensive game plan of how that team beat the New England Patriots to win the Super Bowl." I said, "You could have gone for the whole show."
And it would not have mattered.
But that's, see, that I told him, I was like, "See, that's the radio guy and you coming out. Look at you. Like, did I hit the brake?" That's what I remember. I remember the game, obviously, right?
Uh-huh.
And it took everything I had, like, all night long. Like, oh, I want to text Deuce. Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to text Deuce.
God, that game was awesome.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
And South Carolina ties. Alshon Jeffrey made a catch in that game.
Yeah.
That was one of the best contested catches I've seen in a Super Bowl, not named David Tyree's catch.
I hear you.
But that's up there, man. He made some plays in that Super Bowl.
I think I'll show you later. I think I have the picture of me just holding Deuce's Super Bowl ring because it won't fit my finger. It's too small. The ring, I mean.
Okay, yeah, the
ring's too small. Yeah. It's like a paperweight.
Which they're not meant to be worn that much anyway.
Nah.
But
it's a big ring. No, I do. I'll never
a lot of
forget
ice in that thing.
He's like, "Jay, I didn't go too long, did I?" And I didn't say like you. I did. I said to him, "Deuce, the running backs coach of the Philadelphia Eagles just called into the show to tell us how they won the Super Bowl." That's what I told him.
Yeah, you can go as long as you want.
Oh,
spare no details, please.
Finally here for you American soccer fans, Paul Tenorio of The Athletic reporting earlier this morning that former Tottenham, Chelsea, and PSG coach Mauricio Pochettino is now the top target for the United States men's national team, according to multiple sources who he says he has been briefed on the coaching search. The sources said the Federation was still considering multiple candidates, but Pochettino is seen by some as the favorite in the pool, and U.S. Soccer is engaged in conversations with his camp. Those of you that don't know, he's been an excellent coach, especially at Tottenham, where they played for the Champions League against Liverpool. They lost. He did win a French title with Paris, but everybody does that. And he actually last year, even though I can't stand Chelsea, they were crap. And he ultimately led them, I think, to like 5 wins in their last 6 games. And and then they just said, well, you know what? You're not good enough. Because the dude that owns Chelsea, Todd Bowley, who owns the Dodgers, he might know what he's doing with the Dodgers. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing with Chelsea, which is fine with me because I don't like Chelsea.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I don't like Chelsea. But Mauricio Pochettino, here's the difference, though. Poch will probably need to make $1.5 million a month. Not sure America's going to do that.
Yeah, that might not be in the budget.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but we'll see. That's our headlines of the day, brought to you by Integrated Media. 803-948-8327 is the way to get them. Get ahead of the football rush, which is really kind of starting now. So call them up. Get that home theater that you've always wanted, or you see something in a sports bar. Like, hey, can I have 3 TVs like in one room and really do everything I want to do like that? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Or an outdoor system. Wi-Fi that works everywhere if you're streaming so that everything is good to go. 803-948-8327. Call my good friends at Integrated Media. Come back on the other side. More from Gamecock football camp as the postgame show continues. Welcome back into the Postgame Show on this Thursday afternoon. Want to remind you that one winner is going to get season tickets to all Carolina home football, baseball, basketball games. That's men's and women's. It's the ultimate season ticket giveaway. You can register right now by going to 1075thegame.com and clicking on the Ultimate Season Ticket 2.0 on Terry Ford's clicky spinny thingy on the webpage.
Very scientifically named.
That's what it says.
Clicky spinny
And again, just like last year, we will announce the 3 finalists. They will have to show up at the summer golf tournament at Charwood. So must be present to win.
We'll make you fence for it.
Kind of a thing. I just have to
Give you 2 little swords and you go.
You can do that. Or
out.
Some putters. You have to fence against Bill Gunner.
Ooh.
Or maybe just,
Putter fencing.
Hey, here's what we'll do. Here's what we should do. I can't say it's what we will do. What we should do is have Gunner out on the driving range, and the 3 people that are the finalists just start smacking the heck out of the ball and trying to hit Gunner. And the first person that hits him wins the tickets.
Ooh.
I mean, now that's a contest.
That's how you get a crowd, too. That is how, if you want to put up numbers in terms of just participation and viewership.
It's like a dunk tank, but different.
But a little more violent.
Yeah. And Gunner's out there taunting them.
I think Gunner might have too much fun with that.
Yeah, you're not Tiger Woods, are you?
To quote Keon Coleman, your Tiger wish he coulds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we probably would not be allowed to do that, and I don't want Gunner to get too injured. So instead, we'll just have the 3 of you show up, and then we'll announce the winner. So Gunner will probably draw your name out of a hat. And for the 2 of you that don't win, then you can take it out on Gunner. So either way, we all win.
Chase him out of the golf course.
We all win. This is great. I'm glad I thought of this. I should be the promotions director.
Should have had you in the meetings.
Well, I was probably busy. It's all brought to you by Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic, where we'll have to send Bill Gunner after he comes through this.
Probably.
If Gunner's listening right now.
If he's wearing, unless he wears a helmet, I would advise. We have a football helmet in here somewhere he could borrow.
Y'all tell Gunner I said something even worse than what I said if he's not listening. Next time you see him. Just say, man, they were really giving it to you, huh?
Jay Phillips picking on you.
There you go. All right. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, okay. So we've been asking as well the last couple of days. We've had some fun with this. What movie did you see as 12 or under that you probably shouldn't have? Again, whether it was a horror movie that scarred you or, again, a grown-up comedy that you really weren't prepared for. Maybe you saw some things that were like, oh, okay, I get what that's all about, but maybe some of the comedy itself didn't mesh with where your brain was at that time, or a host of things like that, right? Just, again, there's no wrong answer here.
This is all from your
But this
human
one's
experience.
great. This one's great. Kevin hit me with this. He says, not the same thing, but when I was 9, my dad took my siblings to see the original Exorcist without me, and I was mad. That night, he writes, my brother slept under my bed, and my sister slept in the bathroom with the door locked. It scared the heck out of me, and I didn't even see it. And he puts in parentheses, and still haven't. That's awesome.
Oh, well, now you have to watch it.
That's
I feel like you
awesome.
have to. His imagination has been swirling on this for decades.
So
must watch it.
Well done, Kevin. Well done. And on that note, Doc hits us and says, I don't know this movie, Magic. 1978, he says, I cannot, in all caps, watch,
Magic.
see, or be around ventriloquist puppets at all. Another all caps.
I don't do that
To this
in
very
general.
day, complete creepiness. I hear you, man.
All I need to know is that this is a movie about ventriloquist puppets.
Yeah, I guess
And
it's
that's
sort of like a Chucky thing,
scary
but
enough.
scarier. Because again, I saw Child's Play. I was in high school when that came out, so that didn't. Again, I just more like a comedy with jump scares.
Right. But ventriloquist, like those type of puppets, a lot creepier.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, y'all keep them coming. We'll get a few others in throughout the course of the afternoon. Let's hear from Gilbert Edmond now, the former Gamecock D lineman, transferred down to FSU. Didn't work out. He's back. Now there's a lot of guys that he's playing with here at Carolina that are doing what they need him to do up front. And here's what he says. Cut number 1, please, Elijah, about the depth at edge for USC.
Yeah, I feel very confident, coming in. I didn't really have too much information on the guys that was in the room, but going through spring with them and now going through fall camp with them, I see that we got a bunch of different players with different skill dynamics, and it's fun to be around because, whenever you have good guys to play with, like I said, it uplifts the entire room and it brings people to compete and, bring out the other players.
And we'll just continue that theme here. He expounds more on what he sees with the edge group.
I think in Coach White's defense, the edge guys, we're put in a lot of positions to make a lot of plays and use our athleticism. So I think whenever you got a bunch of guys that are, that have the athleticism that we do, it just makes for a perfect match. You know what I'm saying? When we start to understand the playbook as much and not just understand our position, but understand the whys and the coverages and different things like that, I think it'll be the perfect click, and you'll see a lot more production from us.
And that's certainly the goal. One of the guys that is going to be in that group, as I've been calling him, the new D-Stu, Dylan Stewart. Here's what Gilbert Edmond, a veteran guy, says about the Gamecock freshman.
Being an older guy and seeing a guy like Dylan, the first thing that pops out is just his God-given ability. His speed, his athleticism, and that's a big part of the position that we play, the game that we play, and he has that down pat. So it's exciting to see. I feel like he'll be a very special player.
I think there's
agreed.
People want to see Nick Harbor, no doubt, and they want to see Lenoris do his thing. You want to see Rocket Sanders, but I'd love to be able to try to measure. Maybe we'll do a poll on that in the coming weeks. Where does Dylan? Just see where Dylan Stewart maybe ranks, at least with our audience, in terms of the anticipation for what he is projected to bring. So that could be interesting. Gilbert, of course, coming back to Carolina from Florida State. Earlier, we had a few cuts from Vandrevius Jacobs, a wide receiver who had very little production at FSU as a freshman last season. But Gilbert knows him and goes about a minute here on what he thinks Vandrevius Jacobs is going to bring to USC.
Me and Dre were both from the same area. We went to the same high school and stuff like that. So I've been seeing him make plays since he was a freshman and I was a senior. So whenever we were both at Florida State, it was kind of like the same thing, just seeing the young guy just do spectacular things with his skill set, like his speed and his hands and stuff like that. You expect him to make a lot of good plays, and that's what he did in practices. And whenever he did get in the games, even at Florida State like that, I think maybe the first play he got in, he scored a touchdown or something like that. One of his very few plays, but seeing him here, both coming here, he's been doing the same thing. Even today in practice, I think he had like a good one-on-one catch in one of our first periods and stuff like that. So he just continued to just be a guy that is hungry and wants to prove that he can get the ball and make good things happen.
That's interesting. They've known each other a long time. I guess we need to start calling him Dre. So there's that.
There we go.
Things we learn, right? Again, depth at the position is there. Who breaks through? I keep coming back to that, and we don't know. It's somewhat rhetorical to keep saying that, I know, and that's part of what we do here in August camp is just wait for these things to unfold in front of us. There will be a scrimmage on Saturday. I don't think that Shane is ready to put out a depth chart yet, or his assistants are ready to do that. We probably get some idea of how it begins to align, but I think it's going to still be a very gray, penciled in type of thing.
Definitely. Well, when you have that many talented guys too, this is the good problem that South Carolina has on this roster is going to be the amount of edge rushers and receivers both. Because we just don't know how the receivers are going to fit in, right? Mm-hmm. The edge rushers, the level of talent's there from what you already bring back from last year. Which ones are going to be able to come in and show you a little something that can provide right away, and how much you can see that divvied out. I think that's a pretty good problem to have.
Come back on the other side with the drive around the SEC. We started it for you earlier. We'll recap it. But Scott Dockerman and Seth Emerson of The Athletic. Scott covers the Big Ten. Seth covers the SEC. Had just a fun August exercise on setting up, based on this year's teams, a Big Ten SEC football challenge. Who would beat whom? And they did it based on the order of finish that was predicted by media at the various media days. That's how they got the matchups done. We'll have some fun with that. And a couple of interesting cuts from a great friend of the station, Mo Kaba, as part of the drive around. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. A few accidents to get to you here that have been causing some mild issues here in town. We'll start with the ones here in Richland County. We got one on Rabin Road in South Carolina 555 and Farrow Road. Another one on Polo Road at Two Notch Road. Got an accident at Pilgrim Church Road at Old Cherokee Road, causing some minor traffic backup. And on Hard Scrabble Road at Clemson Road, the traffic's been pretty slow there for most of the afternoon. We have two on 26 eastbound over in Lexington County to get to you. One on Airport Boulevard near exit 113, and another one on US 21 and 176 near exit 115.
It is Drive Around the SEC time on this Thursday afternoon. Jay and Elijah back here with you. We'll get into a few things around the Gamecocks as well as part of this, and we'll finish up going over what Scott and Seth did at The Athletic in predicting a fictional SEC Big Ten football challenge, which, by the way, I would hope as we continue to see this evolution, right? Soon enough here, there's going to be discussion of a new governance model for the NCAA, and my gut tells me that that will include less than 100 schools as a new division somewhere. That's my gut. There's nothing on paper or anything in print on that has said this is what they'll be discussing. But like you and I were talking about it, without naming names again, but when you've got even a state like ours, which is not one of your wealthier states. All right, and I'm a lifer. But when you've got two schools in this state that have budgets that are 10 to 12 times the athletic budget of some schools in your state that are also Division I, 10 to 12 times, you're just not playing at the same level, right? I mean, you're just not. I mean, if you have an old Chevette and a boat, and the dude next to you has, like an F-150 and a boat, the F-150 is going to pull the boat a long way. Your Chevette is going to fall apart. And I know that's probably a bad or weird analogy, but you see the point I'm trying to make, So anyway, I'd like to see my point is, and then when they do this and they give us a new governance model, you know what we should have every year? SEC Big Ten Football Challenge.
That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Be the perfect thing to start the season off with every year.
Every year. I mean,
look, we have an expanded playoff. One loss ain't going to ruin your season anymore.
I don't think two will.
If it in two won't.
I don't even know. I'm not even sure that three is going to.
And at some point, too, your scheduling is going to have to matter. Things like strength of schedule will matter more than they ever have. Key wins are going to matter more than they ever have.
What do you think that the so-called faction of traditional college football fans thinks is more gross to them? Like patches on the sleeve for advertisement or a 3-loss national champion?
Patches on the sleeve.
Yeah.
I think so. I think America accepted a 2-loss LSU team in the BCS era winning a national championship fairly well.
But a 4-loss national champion.
That might make me a little nauseous. That would make me I would feel a little icky.
I'm not sure a 4-loss team cracks into a top 12.
Those 4 losses better be against the top 5 in the country.
What if... and
then you better beat somebody in the top 10 at least once or twice.
Well, and then you go win your conference. That's what's going to happen if you could find a way to do that. Like, what if you had 2 non-cons, 2 conference losses, got into your conference title game, and won your conference title game? And you were 8-4 going into the conference title game. Then you're 9-4 going into the playoff. Just saying.
Well, these are the type of hypotheticals that we're going to have to brace ourselves for or discussing the merits of, because we're going to have some teams more likely in these two conferences right here, which have very different strengths, as we'll learn in this exercise. But we'll see a lot of clashing of these two and comparing schedules and how they all play out and discussing the merits of these certain metrics that we're going to use to determine these last few spots in the playoff every year.
So I'll race through this real quick. Again, the Scott Dockerman and Seth Emerson lined these up 1 through 16 based on predicted order of finish at media days for each conference. That's how they've done this, and they put them all on a neutral field. We've already gone over Vandy Northwestern. Both guys thought Northwestern would win. That's the 16s. We're going in reverse order. Mississippi State versus Michigan State at 15. Both guys picked Michigan State. The 14s were Arkansas versus Illinois. Both guys picked Illinois to win that one. That'd be played in They got them playing on neutral fields. That one's in St. Louis. Number 13 we did. That was Carolina UCLA. Both had Carolina winning a game in San Antonio. And some of the locations, by the way, are done in jest in terms of how they chose a neutral site. San Antonio being the midway point between L.A. and Columbia.
Very good write-up, so it was a very good write-up.
And then we ended with number 12, so that was Florida versus Minnesota. They split on that one. Scott taking Minnesota, and Seth says the Gators edge the Gophers. Now we get to number 11s, Kentucky versus Maryland. Both guys have Kentucky winning in Tuscaloosa because they say here both programs were once coached by Bear Bryant, so they get to play at Bryant-Denny.
Very fair.
That's fair.
Very fair. And I think that's one of the few games in this where I'm like, yeah, one team absolutely kicks the hell out of the other.
Hey, easy there, killer. UMD parent.
Well, I'm sorry, and I hope they don't kick you too hard because that would be an ugly game.
Hey, Terps are going to bowl games. That's something.
And they did whoop up on Auburn.
They did.
Who played most of their starters in that game. Maryland did not.
Speaking of Auburns, they're in the 10 game with Washington. They'd be playing in El Paso. Dockerman says Auburn beats the Huskies 26-20, and Seth says Auburn 20-14. So both have 6-point wins for Auburn over UW. The number 9 game is Texas A&M versus Rutgers in Jacksonville. Interesting. Dockerman says Rutgers 20-14, and Seth has another 6-point win for Rutgers 23-17.
I have Rutgers too.
Watch out for
I did this very same exercise.
The number 8 game is probably the one that would be the most anticipated. Oklahoma versus Nebraska. Picking up one of the great rivalries of the old Big 8. Remember back in the day? Well, you don't remember, but I do.
Not the Big 8.
They played these two teams. I mean, with rare exception, whichever one beat the other would go on to win the Big 8 and go to the Orange Bowl. That was pretty much how it went for like 20 straight years. Dockerman has Nebraska edging Oklahoma 38-34, while Seth has Oklahoma over Nebraska 27-17. Again, there are a lot of people just sleeping on Oklahoma, and I am not one of them. I'm just not one of them.
I think they'll be the best 8-4, 7-5 team in the country.
You may be right. The 7 game is Tennessee versus Wisconsin. Dockerman has Tennessee beating the Badgers 27-16 in Indy because he says it's about 5 hours from both. Seth says Tennessee as well, 38-24. The number 6 game, Missouri versus Southern Cal. They're going to play in L.A., but at SoFi. So it's neutral because it is in L.A. It is, right? If you know. Listen to this now. Missouri, says Scott Dockerman, 55-37. Yuck. Seth says Missouri wins 48-27. All right.
Southern Cal ain't stopping.
Now into the 5s real quick. LSU versus Iowa in your old hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. LSU 13-9. That's Scott Dockerman's choice.
It's a rock fight.
Seth says they get a few more points, 20-10 LSU. So both have the Tigers beating the Hawkeyes.
That Iowa defense is no joke, dude.
The 4s in Baltimore, Ole Miss versus Michigan. Scott Dockerman, Rebels 31, Michigan 23. Seth, Ole Miss 28-17. Bama versus Penn State in Pasadena. Two teams from over here going all the way out there. Dockerman says Bama 20-16, but Seth says Penn State 27-23. The 2s, Texas versus Oregon in Vegas. Dockerman, Oregon 39, Texas 37. Seth says Oregon 34, Texas 31. And finally, the ones, Georgia versus Ohio State in Cleveland, of all places. Decently neutral, not. Ohio State 27-23 says Dockerman. Seth says Georgia 24-21. So Scott Dockerman has 8 SEC and 8 Big Tens winning. Seth 10-6 in favor of the Southeastern Conference. I would love to see this for real. And if they even wanted to do it this way, like every year, we'll have venues scheduled and figure some way. It'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. That's the drive around the SEC. Have a few more fun with movies and a couple of quick cuts from our guy Mo Kaba. You're listening to the Postgame Show. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the postgame show on this Thursday afternoon. Jay and Elijah with you. United States 95, Serbia 91. And you may say, well, duh, America wins every men's basketball game they play, and they win every women's basketball game they play. And yes, so far they have, but they were down 17 points in the second quarter were the Americans. Down 13 going into the fourth quarter. And outscored the Serbs by 17 to win by 4. Steph with 2 big free throws. KD had a couple of big shots. LeBron with a triple-double. Steph had 36 points on the
9
day.
of 14 shooting from 3.
So, again, I don't care how old the old dudes are.
No, I trust most. The game on the line.
Old dudes.
Those dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Those guys.
I want to give you a quick cut here from Mo Cobb, a great friend of the station. Mo's been in here a bunch and certainly has been through one heck of a last couple of years with the injuries to the Gamecock linebacker. But he made mention here of late that he was always coming back.
There's never an option for me to stop. If I was to stop, I would never know what the result would be from all the hard work I put in all my life. You know what I'm saying? So I know I still got it. Unfortunate that it happened, like unfortunate circumstances, but I'm not going to just wallow about it and just say, oh, it's over for me. I still got 3 years left of eligibility. I got time to show what I can do, and I'm going to compete and get my spot back.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I just, I hope that I think he can. When I say I hope, I don't mean like I hope it works out for him. What I mean is I hope that he can find a way to overcome from a mental standpoint. And what I mean by that is, and again, I referenced Deuce. Deuce and I talked a lot once he retired, and we were doing the show all the time. But Deuce had Liz Frank surgery, back when it was, I don't want to say it was new, but it was a difficult surgery to overcome for him. And not only did he come back from it, but he had some very productive seasons. And when he moved on to Pittsburgh, they won the Super Bowl. But he'd always said, and I've heard this from plenty of athletes, and I'm sure you have too, Elijah, and a lot of you that are out there, it's not the physical rehab. It's trusting your body again. It's remembering what happened when you got hurt, how you got hurt. And knowing that something like that, especially in a violent sport like football, is going to come your way again. It's not an if. Something's going to happen. Not that you necessarily get hurt, but you'll be in heavy physical contact. And I, it always, when Deuce told me the story, it always said, I as long as I trusted myself again, I was going to be fine. It wasn't ever, oh man, my foot hurts or anything like that, Mm-hmm. And for Mo, it's going to be that bad because it's happened twice.
And a lot it's kind of traumatizing a little bit to have injuries like that that require surgery. And a lot of that, that getting back on the field, you kind of re-traumatize yourself through certain plays, right? When you mentioned like how my injury happened, because it might have been, if it's like a non-contact injury, you might be scared to make a certain cut because that's what happened whenever you got hurt. So it's mentally fighting through trauma. That's what coming back through from injuries like that is, like either torn ACLs, Achilles, whatever injury it is, you name it. There's going to be a lot of movements you make on a daily basis, whether it just be practicing or being in games or even in training. Like agility training can give you a lot of the very same cuts and feels that you experienced right before suffering an injury that took a long time to recover from. That's what makes it so mentally difficult to come back from these.
Pulling for Mo, but again, Mo's been in here a bunch with us. Well, he not of late necessarily, but he's been in here a lot. Doing some stuff with our friends at Cato's. And the Mo with a W, Kaba T-shirts, which are awesome.
Oh, God, that's good. That's really good.
My girls both said, Dad, you got to get me one of those. So I found a way. Thank you, Ben.
Found a plug.
And the crew. That's why I love Cato's for a lot of things, but I thought that was great. A couple other quick ones here on our question of what movie did you see as a youngster, 12 and under, kind of where we're going for, a youngin', that you now as a grown-up were like, yeah, that probably shouldn't have seen that. Again, mine, Jaws and Cujo, probably shouldn't have seen them as young as I did. Elijah, it was Poltergeist and Gladiator, which is really what got the ball rolling, was the Gladiator one.
Yeah.
Because we were, again, how that came about.
One of the many.
I don't have time to tell the story, but it was just funny about something in the Olympics and how I said they should incorporate pro wrestling into the Olympics and like have a foreign object with the fencers pull out a dagger. Say
fight with swords like they used to.
Yeah, just like, hey, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Let's see. We had one that was Children of the Corn. That one was pretty good. Dazed and Confused. Again, did we do that one earlier?
Yeah.
At age 11, that one was pretty
more
funny.
mature content. Yeah.
And then to follow up here, Rob hits us and says, Poltergeist, I was 10, slept with the light on for a long, all caps, long time after that.
Bet he didn't love white noise on the TV as well after that.
Poltergeist is a freaky movie, man.
It is. It definitely is.
It got a lot of people back.
More so at a young age.
Yeah. Y'all have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll do it all again tomorrow. For Elijah, I'm Jay. See you.